Hello and welcome to Women's Biz TV. Today I am interviewing Jane Vandermeer, who is an innovative personal styling expert. So we're going to be talking all things fashion, how to feel absolutely beautiful in your own skin, how to bring out the very best of your essence. Oh my goodness, I love this topic. So welcome to my show, Jane.
Thank you so much for having me, Annie. It's so exciting to be here with you always.
Always. Such a joy. And we're so thrilled that our viewers around the globe are going to have a beautiful sneak peek into our conversation about, fashion and beauty and just feeling that you can just show up. It's about showing up as yourself. Wherever you are, whether you're in your own life, at home, at work, on a global stage, whatever it is that you're doing. I would love to start by actually asking, what does a brand stylist do? What do you do, Jane?
So I work with women all over the world. I'm lucky to work with extraordinary women, which I'm eternally grateful for. And so my approach is very different. It's all about the congruency of who you are as an individual and all that you are, the mix of all your experiences and your story and your, whether you're in business or you're an employee, that aspect, but all the other parts that make up who we are. And blending that, all of that, with our external. So it's the blend of the two and making sure that we're showing up with who we truly are. And of course, that is a moving and evolving process. You know, who we were 5 years ago, 2 years ago, pre the big lockdown and all those sort of things, we're different women now. And so to keep moving forward and keep growing, and therefore our style reflecting that.
So important that you've mentioned actually the changing versions of actually how you show up. I can't believe how much I feel that I've changed over in the last 5 years or so. Just, not that I'm actually going, I want to have a totally different look, but it's been more about saying I've felt more comfortable in knowing what I actually like. And I feel it works for me, and I want to show up in that more. And how much just sometimes the shifts of whether it's 5 years, 10 years, or it might be related to the role that I'm having, the confidence that you can actually change and move into those spaces and actually make it a bit of fun.
Absolutely. Fun is one of the bits that is my favourite bit actually with what I do, is injecting. I think what happens is we end up in a bit of default. And I find this with ladies, is they'll buy, say for winter with knitwear, they'll sort of repeat the same kind of things each winter. And so we're sort of buying an updated version of the same. And I get it, I get how that happens, and we just go back to, black pants and this and that, like whatever your default is, which is different for all of us. And it's lovely. Once we work together, I'll then encourage you to sort of tip it on its head. And I feel my way with who can cope with that. Of course, with you, I would totally say that. Because it's part of who you are. You are this effervescent, bubbly personality. And if we put you in something really conservative, you would be like a flower starting to wilt. Like you would lose your Annie-ness.
Yes.
And that's what we want. We want you to be the most Annie possible. And even in the time we've known each other, I've watched you become more and more and more Annie. The same way that I am. I'm still Jane. I always was. But we're about growing and moving forward, and so it's the reflection of that. It's the external reflection of that. Yeah.
I must admit, I look at women, and their different fashion styles and what works with them and what makes them feel comfortable, and it's amazing how different colours look on different people, right? I mean, I look at your style and it is so distinctive, Jane. It just looks Jane Vandermeer, right? And I just go, I love your look, I love your style, I love the way you show up, but it's very you. If I put your outfit of today onto me, that wouldn't look so great
No.
with me.
If
I'm a bold and bright, and
Yeah.
Annie's always in, colours
Yeah.
and particularly these crimsons and greens, and
Yeah.
I just love it because it just feels me. It doesn't, and I've tried that. I love what you said before. I tried that at earlier stages of my career. Like I remember, probably 10, 12 years ago when I first became a CEO, I suddenly went, what am I supposed to wear? A suit,
Yep.
and then some of the stuff I just it just felt funny.
Yep.
It felt
Yep.
wrong.
Very
I just felt like it
sober, sort of.
it just
Yeah,
didn't
yeah.
bring out my essence. I think
No.
that word essence it just
nice.
nails it.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I'm like, I don't think I can do that. I don't think I want to show up as man. Like, let's face it, enough men have got those roles. I'm
Yes,
going
they
to go
do. Yes, they do.
more and more my own style.
Yeah.
And then suddenly it was like, oh, Annie's the CEO who turns up in a flowery dress.
Yeah.
And it was kind of funny. But you know what? I owned it and rocked it,
Yeah.
and then no one ever
Yeah.
said anything else about it.
And I would imagine you would have walked into the room, walked on stage, whatever the situation, and really owned it. Because it was really a true extension. It's not even an extension of you, it's just you, your personality, who you truly are. And I think that is one of the key points. Like if it was a different kind of moment and we swapped clothes right now, we would look like we're in dress-ups.
Yes.
Because it's not an extension of who each of us are. And I think that is definitely always been my approach. It's like you'll never see in anything I write or publish or whatever, you'll never see me doing the must-have list.
Yes.
Like you'll never see that coming out of my mouth or writing, because I don't, in all my heart, I do not believe that every woman needs a white shirt, black pants and a little black dress, because I just simply don't believe it. Like if black truly suits you and really makes you come alive, and it is so stylish, but if that really works for you, then that's fabulous. But for your colourings, for my colourings, that doesn't make me come alive.
I can do it, have very basic black, and then I have to swish it up with some really zhuzhy, fun scarf or some sort of colour that then goes, great. It's just based as a base. Where someone else, that's right. They just suddenly go, you just rock that black dress and that's all you need. It's amazing. Which brings me on to the next question for you, which is around confidence. You do a lot of work with women, and actually, although we're talking fashion and what to wear, underpinning all of that is actually confidence. I don't feel confident in the way I show up. I don't feel confident with my body the way it is. The clothes that I've got, I bring them out after I didn't like them last year or the year before, and now I'm putting them on again. It's got to be linked to that whole topic of confidence.
Absolutely. And I think what happens, especially with women, is whether we're in long-term relationships, whether it's work, whatever, it can sneak up on us. It doesn't just. It's usually not just one occasion. It's like drip feeding of how we lose our confidence, and we wake up one day and go, I don't even know who I am anymore. And that happens. I think that happens to all of us in one form or another.
Absolutely.
Some of us do it quietly, and some of us do it a bit more vocally, and it is what it is. But I think to help find that again is a process. It doesn't, like I said, because it takes time to be chipped away at, it takes time to then rebuild. The other thing I would say is when I talk to women, not 100%, but a huge percentage of women, because I open the space up and I'm very non-judgmental, and I go the kind angle rather than I'm not the tough love kind girl. If you want tough love, there's other girls out there who you would resonate with. But for me, I've never gone that way because I don't like being treated like that. But what I find is when I create that space is women then tell me all about their bodies. And it is fine because that's the space to do it. But it is 9 times out of 10, it is everything that's wrong. It is, you know, bust is too big, too small, there's lumps, there's bumps, there's hips, there's bottom, whatever the bit. And I will listen, and because we also, you know, as women, we need to be able to say all of that and say it in a vault. And I say to the girls, nothing we say and nothing photos you send me will ever end up anywhere. I'm like the vault.
That's good to know.
Oh, absolutely, because it's personal.
It's very
so
vulnerable
personal.
sending pictures of yourself in different outfits. I can imagine that exchange of you and your clients of going, here I am in my underwear or in something which you're trying to zhuzh it up. And you would have been doing a lot of work online with clients around the world. So just putting that digitally is scary, right?
Absolutely. And it's like you say, it's vulnerable. Or women are vulnerable. So you need to know that's a safe space.
Yeah.
And so to have, and I was at an event recently with International Women's Day, and I was talking to a really high-end makeup artist who does works with lots of women, and a couture designer who's another friend of mine. And we all made the same comment that we are noticing women apologising for their bodies.
Oh, yes.
It is the first thing almost that comes out of women's mouths. And I thought, wow.
So sad, isn't it?
Yeah, which really comes back to confidence. And so that's why I feel that really that is what I'm here to do in this lifetime, is help women with confidence. Like I say, marrying the external and the internal. So how I would describe that is I can take you and show you a beautiful jacket that would be the right colour, shape, fabric, all the rest of it. But to me, that is a bit of a Band-Aid. It's fine, but that doesn't make long-term change. Long-term change is giving
underneath
you the tools.
it.
That's right.
Underneath it,
That's
unpacking it. So a lot of your work actually as a stylist is not just the outfit choice. That's superficial, really, as we would all agree. It's important. It makes you feel like you. It all glows. So you feel like but it's like the icing on the cake. It's like, I'm rocking it because, yes, this suits me, but also because I do feel confident. I feel empowered. I feel comfortable in who I am. So there's a lot of emotional work. Enormous underneath there.
Enormous.
And I love that comment that you make, because I actually noticed it the other day. I went out, we're going to a wedding next weekend, which is lovely, and I had one of my relatives, and we went shopping for a wedding dress, something to wear. And one of the first comments after the first changing room experience of something that I'd just go in, change it, hadn't really thought about it. And she's a bigger girl, and she actually thanked the lady at the counter because when she needed another size, and the lady went and said, "Oh, of course, sweetheart, here it is. Oh my goodness, that's going to look great on you." And she did all the positives. But the fact that my relative actually had to come and go, "Thank you so much for doing that. You've got no idea how many people go, oh, do you need the next size up?" Or "Oh, sure, I could have a larger size available." Those sorts of words.
Making you feel
how uncomfortable that must be on a day-to-day basis when people do that, because it makes you go, "I don't want to have that change room experience."
No.
Incredible. So I was just thinking, oh my goodness, I've just actually entered this world, the other day. Not that I never have any problems with trying clothes on, but this was a real struggle, and it wasn't the outfit. The outfit looked beautiful. It was actually how she was feeling. It was so much more than that, and we had a conversation afterwards, which is amazing.
And I would also add, so when you are feeling more confident and you've got the right colours and the right shapes and you feel really good within yourself, how do you think that affects all the people around you? Because the thing with women is we are this, well, A, we're extraordinary, but B, we are the centre of our families and our friendship groups and our worlds. So when we feel good and we feel confident and we feel, and I was going to say pretty, but it's more than that, we then walk into the situation differently. We really show up differently. Now that, of course, then flows on to business. We're both in business, but it also
affects everything, doesn't
your
it?
relationship
It really affects everything.
with your partner. he or she receives the wonderful ripple effect of that elevation of self-confidence. So it sounds, on the surface, it's a pretty new outfit, but it's so much more.
It's so much more. So when I think I saw on your website, it's all about helping women be comfortable in their natural state, their natural style. I hope I've got that right. And it is true. It's actually the natural style which comes out in the clothing, but it's so then how it's going to suit their colour scheme, the way their personality, their shape, their everything, right?
Everything.
It really is their everything. And when you actually do, and I've done that, and I'm a very confident speaker, but I've had those moments that I've tried something a little bit different, just go, I don't want to get stuck in my own little Annie mold, so I'll do something different. And I've worn it to a do, and the whole night, or I'm just not feeling right. And it does, it suddenly unravels you, and it is an amazing effect. And I just think it's so great having this conversation. And which brings me to another question then. Why current world, we should be over this, but why do women still struggle so much with this view of perfect? They won't, like I've been out with people who go, sorry, I was an hour late, and they've been late just because they didn't feel perfect, they didn't feel right. And, that's actually their reason. And while we all have a moment of, what's happening here, I'm going to change outfits. If that's the way, there's something happening underneath that. There's still this incredible pressure.
Yeah, absolutely.
To show up in a certain way.
We're so hard on ourselves, don't you think? Like, we wouldn't say to a girlfriend, I don't know, something about your body or you want to rethink that outfit, time to get your hair done. You wouldn't talk, or worse, harder, you wouldn't talk in that way to someone we cared about or loved. Yet we still, for many of us, continue to be really hard on ourselves. And then all we need is something, there's a lot of elements that can really chip away at our confidence and self-worth. So my belief is, let's just do everything we can to help. Things go wrong all the time, but if you're feeling a bit better, then you handle it better, and you can possibly laugh about it, possibly let things roll off your back. And I think part of that is accepting that we're not brilliant at everything all the time, which, it makes me think, I play tennis every now and then, and I expect to win and ace you every time, even if I only play every 10 years. Now, I expect that. Now, that is sort of insane. If you were saying that to me, I might say, Annie, but yet
your head says it. It's like, it should be this easy. I should be that person. It's like, that's right, it's not computing, but you show up, and sometimes it's just not going to be that amazing. But you still show up anyway. It's all right. It's safe.
And as soon as I hear myself use the word should, I know, actually, this is probably not for me, or not for me today. Let's leave it to a day that I feel better, or that I feel more in balance, or maybe it's a not at all. Maybe it's like,
maybe it's just, it's not going to work. No, not necessary. Move on.
No, let it go. Move on.
So here's a tricky question.
Okay.
I've had from other girls who go, you know what, I've heard stylists talk before, well, nothing is going to look good on me. I think I'd be impossible to style. Like, seriously, this body, not going to look great in anything. What's your response to that?
I do have the odd person say that. I think there's a few things there. It's more about how she feels about herself. Look, I've been dressing women for 30 plus years, so really I've seen pretty much all sorts of shapes, and I've watched with women, even on Zoom, who take up no space. They sort of, they're like this on Zoom, and I wrote this post called She Wore Beige, because it was like, don't look at me, certainly don't ask me anything. And then by the end, the girl, they're sitting like this, and they're like, you know what, Jane, I've got these great ideas, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, look at where you've got to. So if we bring that back to styling, so part of my background is I'm a corporate fashion designer. So I have drafted patterns and done the whole process. So therefore understand fit and the tweaks that work, what will work with a D-sized cup to an F-sized cup and beyond, and the tweaks that are required. So really, we can, like,
nothing's impossible.
Nothing's impossible.
What you're saying.
Everything can be, and it might be a little bit harder to find retail-wise, what you're talking about, but there's always solutions. One of my favourite topics that I talk about is upcycling or recycling. So garments that you've got, that you've perhaps had for a long time, I'll show you how to make them work for you now, and how to. So it's not all about consumerism.
Yeah.
It's not all about landfill and just buying for the sake of buying.
Yeah.
I'm absolutely not about that. I'm about, okay, often on my videos I'll show a jacket that I bought 15 years ago. Yeah. And I love it, and like, you know, it still fits me, which is great. The outside fabric is beautiful, and I've relined it twice already because that's what wears out first, you know, deodorant, all these different things.
Yeah.
And so it's about thinking differently, and whether you can sew, whether you can alter, and if you can't, I can then find people for you. And so really, whatever body shape you are, there's a solution. There's always a solution.
I love that.
Challenge.
Exactly. I know you are. And that's right. It's just amazing. Even the cuts and the way things go. Like, I've got a number of girlfriends who just go, oh, you should buy Camilla. Annie, you know, they're so flowy and lovely. Well, I tell you what, I just look like a big tent in Camilla. Whereas, you know, I'll go, you know, look nice in like crossover items, you know, outfits and bits and pieces.
And where it's more tailored.
I don't look good with the puffy, like the overflowing, you know. And it's so interesting that you just go, one thing on one person can just look fantastic. And I go, yeah, I totally love it. And they go, you should get it. And I go, nah, it's just not going to work for me. Another thing I've found that is great is actually once you get to that stage and you know what works for you, just hold off and wait for that sort of garment. Which was my experience wedding dress shopping the other day. You know, my daughters were sort of saying, Mum, you haven't bought anything. And I'm like going, yeah, because it just, I know what looks good on me, and I go, I'd rather just have what's in my wardrobe. I don't have to actually buy something, because if it's not quite right, it's just not gonna work. So it's not all about just shopping and making sure it all just happens.
And like, isn't that a wonderful place to get to, where you can look at pieces and think, you know what, I have to, like, a couple of my values are ease, freedom and flexibility. And so I encourage women that once you've learned, and I help you create the Annie blueprint, is then you don't have to do the thinking every single time. And then you can pretty much get dressed in the dark and it'll all work because everything's cohesive and everything works. Now with that is, like, to me, if I use an example, me in black, it's okay, but I have to work so hard for it to look good. I need to change all my makeup because it doesn't work with it. I need a lot of makeup. I almost need red lipstick. And what happens is I look like I'm a bit in dress-ups.
You've gone a little bit goth.
Yeah. And I don't look like me. And I want to, like, I'm all about looking the most me, the most Jane, whoever, and of course we're all completely different, and when you know that, you sit really authentically, strongly within your sense of self, and then that's how we share our life with the world.
Love it. Let's move on to a viewer question.
Yes.
Over to you.
Hi Jane, I'm just wondering how, if you're on a stage and you feel like all the focus and attention is on you, I'm just wondering how you go about getting over feeling like everyone's looking at, you know, your lumps and bumps and your figure and whatever you're wearing? How do you get through that?
Great question, Lisa. I love that, and thank you for your honesty. One of the areas I talk about is illusion. So if you're conscious of a certain area, is okay, rather than taking, you know, leading, it's all about leading the eye. So I would elevate and draw your eye to other areas, like draw it to your features, in which I can always list off a big list of beautiful assets that you have. Every woman does. And so I would lead the eye and show you how to do that. That would be the solution.
That was a fantastic question, Lisa, and fantastic answer to Jane, because that is just something that all of us struggle with. Those moments that you're in the spotlight and then you're like, oh my goodness, now I feel self-conscious. So I really appreciate you answering that, because I know so many of our viewers would be going, yep, I've had that moment. We've all had it, and that's why I love these really engaging conversations that are just really real. So I so appreciate that. So let's talk a little bit about where you are at with your rising career. I know I've seen you on the global stage. You are writing blogs. You're coaching women around the world. We love this new space, which is all online as well. So it doesn't matter where that person is. How are you measuring your success at this stage of your career?
I think there's elements, there's facets. I think number one would be inner peace, calm, happy sense of self. When you have that, I think that's extraordinary. I would also add surrounding myself with extraordinary women, keeping inspired. One thing that I really value is personal growth. So keep learning and growing and evolving. Travel. Love to travel. And working with extraordinary women. And obviously, therefore, impacting women.
Exactly.
Elevating women. I believe that's what I'm here to do.
And you do it so well, as someone who watches your work and your career, and it's just such a joy to see a fellow woman just really owning their space, feeling really comfortable in their own skin, being able to share that with others, to really empower other people, to actually see the joy that brings others. So it's not just your area of expertise in this instance with your fashion and your desire for women just to be feeling confident and capable of showing up as their best self, but also just seeing the rewards of that. I think that's the best.
It is the best.
And I love what you said then about being surrounded. I think you mentioned fabulous women a couple of times there, and that's just so important. And we're both on that same page. That collaborating with women globally, being surrounded by your girl tribe who are there to actually say, you go girl, I value your work, I love seeing you, I support you, I hope you're going to continue to rise because we rise together. That is the page that we want to be on, and that's what you'll find through Women's Biz TV, that all of the women that are on this show will actually be girl fanning so many other women around the world. They'll be like, wow, I want to see you show up as your best self. I want to see you reach, your optimum, whatever that is. And we know that success is unlimited. So we just continue for the days that we live to actually just continue to grow. And what I also noted in your feedback was, it wasn't about money. It wasn't about status. It wasn't about title. It wasn't about who you get to work with. It was actually just saying, I just want to keep doing what I do. And then obviously there's then reward for that. That then is lifestyle. And we all want that, right? Here we are. You'll notice us today. Sorry about a few little noisy interruptions. But, we're traveling, we're doing things, we're going about our life, and that's a great thing, because with that gives wonderful opportunities to see the world, but also a lot more flexibility.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And that's where both of us have created businesses that we can impact women beyond our space where we live, which I mean, isn't that amazing? And then like attracts like, and on the days that are wobbly, which we all have them, we all do, we can lift each other.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you so much for having me today, Annie. It's what you've created, this vision and mission that you had however long ago, but what you have done is beyond extraordinary. You are this constant effervescent soul, and I love the far-reaching effects that Women's Biz Global has created in all the myriad of ways that you do that and how you help women. And something I've always witnessed with you is you make every woman feel heard and valued, and there's not one element of rushing them along or judgment or any of those kind of things. That is truly one of your many, many gifts. So thank you for this opportunity today.
Oh, thank you, Jane. So you are going to find Jane. I know you're probably going, how do I find Jane Vandermeer? You're going to find her at finesseyourstyle.com. You want to reach out to Jane, you want to check out her website, find out what services she's got. You'll also enjoy reading her blog, finding her work. She's very easy to find. All of the women that we have on Women's Biz TV are very easy to be contacted. I encourage you to do so if you're wanting to finesse your style a little bit. If you're listening to this conversation and went, yeah, I'm one of these women. I'm one of these women who, you know what, I know I'm awesome. Yeah. I know I'm capable. Absolutely. It's not about that, but I do show up in certain situations, and I am the person who's late because I just couldn't make it work for myself. I didn't feel comfortable in my own self. Yeah. I had those moments standing on a stage, and instead of concentrating on what I was trying to do, I felt self-conscious, and that robbed me of that opportunity. We've all been there, so you're not alone here. Everyone has had these moments, but we can overcome all, and it's a great opportunity to reach out to Jane if this is one of the issues that you struggle with, because we're all about empowering women to actually just show up every day as their best self, because this won't just be while you're on a stage somewhere. This will be while you're going about your personal and professional life. This is actually how you feel when no one's watching. It all affects. It's a layered effect. We know it. We want you to feel confident and really loving the skin that you're in. Absolutely. Loving that beautiful soul that you are, and we look forward to helping you do that. So keep the questions coming via Women's Biz TV. I look forward to seeing you at our next episode. Until then, have an awesome day.